Hello and welcome to the show. I am back on a BeamNG Drive. Today going to be playing around with some more of the new features. You might notice just next to the little engine start button there is also a NOS button. Yes, NOS is now an option that you can fit to your cars, and I figured what better way to play around with it than strap a bottle of NOS to a basic car. For example, a driving school covert. See what happens, because that sounds like the sort of stupid, dumb thing that that I would do. It actually gets a surprising amount of wheel spin. I haven't fired the NOS off yet. That's a surprising amount of wheel spin from the vehicle. We come to the Utah map. I'm going to use the motorway here to see what speed we can get the vehicle up to. I'm not expecting... This is going to be like Need for Speed, the early Need for Speed games level of NOS, where it suddenly goes a million miles an hour when you press it. It's likely to be a more gradual increase through here. Also, ooh, okay. I was about to say, I was curious to see how the engines were about to survive this. I think the answer is not. Well, we got to like 100 and something miles an hour in a driving school car. Let's let go. There's less fire than I would have liked for a big engine explosion. I had to imagine overheat the clutch as well in all of that. Okay, so putting NOS, funnily enough, through... the clutch overheating is the least of my concerns when I'm blowing the engine to bits. Right, let's be a little bit more careful, perhaps, with this one. So we'll use a bit of NOS so you can kind of see around the gauge. There is a... oh no, wait, I should turn that off. It started, it kind of by default was on. You can kind of see the amount going down. Oh god, careful around these corners. It isn't the greatest of cars. So I wonder if we could just like let it have a little bit of a cool down period, and then we can fire. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Well, off to the ravine with you. You are buggered beyond all use, pretty much. I have to say, actually, if it wasn't for the fact that the engine had exploded, that probably would have survived the tumble down the mountain. Again, clutch temperature. The clutch is not a huge lover. Let's turn the NOS off for a minute. Okay, we've got like 105 miles an hour to try and beat with this car. So if we fire it up now, just for a little bit, it's at an over torque risk. So if we now just turn it off, we've kind of got it up to speed. We will then let everything, I guess, cool down. Although, I guess if we kind of over-torqued it, we might have stressed bits of the engine, so it might give up when we go to fire it again. So we're kind of up to about 100... We kind of hit maximum velocity, so fire the NOS again. Yeah, but it's given us a second wind of acceleration. Oh, 115 miles an hour before we've exploded the driving school car. And can we roll it off the banking? Go on, cover. Oh, disappointing. Disappointing indeed. Okay, so... Funnily enough, sticking the NOS in the driving school car doesn't quite do the job. I managed to rupture the fuel tank in all of that. Okay. Shall we go stick it in something in which the engine might possibly survive? We may as well stick with the Covet. This is the street-tuned version. It actually comes with NOS as standard. I'd say as standard. I guess this is like a highly modified car. There was a NOS model in it to begin with that we can use. So, theoretically at least, this car should be able to survive the sudden burst of power. I'm not so sure, because that was already flashing angry things at me. I'm not sure I think it's a 1.5 litre engine in this car is quite strong enough to be pumped full of NOS. I mean, we're going quicker than the driving school car, of course, but 115 out of that Covet was not bad, considering this one here is probably going to top out about 135, 140, so if we now fire that, how fast can we get it before it explodes? Come on, Covet! Well, quick, turn it off, turn it off. We haven't, yeah, go 145. Now we fire it. Come on, I want 150 before we hit the tunnel. We are going to run out of road. The engine might explode. It was 150. At least the engine concern was exploding when we power it. we've made a very, very small Comet. Well, it was a small car to begin with. I love how everything on the gauge is red. Just everything is red. Everything is broken. I'm surprised that engine was threatening to blow up. I'll be honest, I was thinking that this one here would be okay. Especially with it being, you know, a street-tuned vehicle. Let's fire that thing again. We'll see if we can get up to 100 well, if we can get to 160 before we hit the tunnel, before the engine blows to bits, it'll be a success. Come on then, Covet. Yeah, you can see it is significantly faster. The engine hasn't got grumpy at me this time around. Maybe it's from the lower kind of from like the initial setting off is when it has problem. We're going to run out of gears. You were actually going to run out of gears in this. Okay, you can see we've hit 155 long before we've got to the bridge. They're going to do 160 before we go flying into the tunnel. We might as well throw that up the wall. Didn't quite get the aiming right there. So, the cover, pretty, well, I say pretty strong. Ooh, that's an interesting buckle that we've got going on. Yeah, that's strange. It was definitely going to blow up on the first one. Let's try. Was it just from... Oh, a bit too much wheel spin off the start. Terrible, terrible launch from me. Maybe it was just a slight weird peculiarity going on that first run. Because, yeah, now it seems perfectly okay with me firing the NOS the whole way through the acceleration zone. Definitely, it's a noticeable performance increase. Not crazy levels. I mean, I guess we have a fairly large tank here to be able to continue to fire. We're going to use about a quarter before we've run out of road. But yeah, it'll certainly give the vehicle a noticeably increased top speed, 155. It can kind of hold itself at 155. Oh, we might make it into the tunnel. Boop. No, we booped the wall. Oh yeah, booped the wheel. I was going to say, not too bad booping the wall, but we snapped the front wheel, in fact. Okay. So, Covet with a much better engine can survive the huge amount of kind of power, additional power, if you like, that the NOS can have put through the car. So, our next car to explode and, well, possibly see how fast it'll go, the Miramar, again, I've gone for the base model of this one. Is it going to kind of become a competition? What car will explode fastest with NOS strapped into it? I think it might be this. By any chance, it's not going to have a particularly strong engine to begin with. I have also given the car a race gearbox, just in the hope that we won't run out of gears. It looks like we probably are going to run out of gears at about 100 miles an hour. Ooh, bugger me. Lost control. Ow. Oh, that's a painful crash. Oh, that was a horribly painful crash. The engine locked up. Everything just locked up and I lost control. The rock to the underside at the rear is not a good crash to have for the poor car. I mean, we got to almost 100 miles an hour before it all exploded. I did think this engine might explode quicker. I love how the NOS is still firing. Look at it go! NOS is still firing as the car is wrecked. Okay, let's go and see. If we're going to get as high a speed as possible, our best bet is to probably fire the thing a little bit to begin with to help get it up to speed. Turn it off, let everything settle. We'll try and get it to as fast as it's going to go naturally, and then we'll fire the NOS and see what we can do afterwards. In fact, as fast as it's going to go naturally is about 88 miles an hour, I think. Unfortunately, we're not travelling in time either. Right, let's go get it past 100 then. Come on, I need that additional power before you blow the engine to bits. 115 is the Covet speed to beat. 108, I think I actually can run out of gears at 108. I'll just turn it off for a second to try and stop it blowing up. Yeah, if you're careful managing it, you can get away with running the car. Yeah, I think we're out of gears at 108 miles an hour. What was that? I just flew up through the floor. Ooh, I lost the back end again, coming in. Trying to get these cars slowed down when they're not supposed to be going this sort of speed isn't the easiest of things. Yeah, I mean, again, that's another almost 20 miles an hour quicker. Almost 20 miles an hour quicker with the NOS attached. With a little bit of management, we can get the car to survive. Now, how far can... Nope. I was about to say, oh, we've gone for a roll. About to say, how far can we push the engine? Apparently not much further than we already did. I mean, that could have been worse. That could have been... I really thought the engine was going to explode a lot quicker, having fired it, filled it full of NOS. It didn't quite. What's going to survive less time than this? I have an idea. This should explode pretty damn quickly. It is a 600cc 3-cylinder engine in here. And to be fair, probably the NOS is going to add as much power to this as the standard engine has, quite frankly. Let's go and see if we can blow the car up before we get... no idea how far this engine is going to last. Apparently, it might not be as bad as I was expecting it to be, considering it's not even got an over-torque risk. Oh, God, the controls are... Well, say the controls. The grip isn't great. Grip isn't great, but the engine is fine. The engine is fine from all of that. I think this vehicle here is actually not the most absurdo slow car as you would imagine it to be. I'm pretty sure it can crack 100 miles an hour on its own without the assistance of of any NOS, although driving this at 100 miles an hour is not the easiest of things. Why is it not firing? It's not firing the NOS continually? It's rather strange, actually. I don't know why the light is blinking away. Are we okay? I think it's because we're buzzing. Well, we've run out of gears. Unfortunately, as much as this could kind of power itself along, the gearbox in this isn't good enough to allow it to go any faster. That sucks. Well, we're not going to have a big explosion from the pigeon. We're just going to have a really big crash in there. That works, I guess. If we're not going to explode the engine, might as well go roll the car. I mean, it's surprisingly good nick after a huge tumble. It's lost. The wheel's running away from us down a hill, but no big engine explosion. Well, the sportier pigeon didn't want to explode, so perhaps the base model pigeon. Maybe that'll want to go up. This is a little 600cc diesel engine, apparently. So we will fill this one full of NOS and see. It's not exactly the most. Oh, okay. This one explodes quite well. This one is a new record for fastest exploding engine that we have got so far. In about, what was that? 5-6 seconds, we managed to get the pigeon to explode. I mean, that was barely any warning either. Let's maybe turn the NOS off from the get-go. It's not massively fast to begin with, and apparently the engine isn't strong enough to deal with the additional amount of power. I don't even know how NOS would work inside a diesel engine. It would probably do bad. It would probably do this to it, let's face it. We have only got an option for a 3-speed gearbox. I wanted to change it to something else, but I couldn't. Can we get 100 miles an hour out of the pigeon? I mean, the only way this particular pigeon is going to do 100 is with some NOS assistance. We're going to need more than NOS, quite frankly. It struggles to do 70. When we do fire the NOS, we can get it up to 76. Come on, let it cool down for a minute, or let it do whatever it does. I don't know. It loses too much when we have to lift off. Come on! 8. Oh, we ran out of gears at 78 miles an hour. Oh, the gearboxes are ruining all of the fun. I wanted to see how far we could go. I probably couldn't go much more than 100 miles an hour. Like, once we've let it settle, it's because it buzzes the limiter and it turns it off momentarily, then kind of stopping the... yeah, that kind of keeps the engines alive once they've got up to speed. It will blow up very, very quickly if it's not up to... if you kind of fire it from the get-go, but when you're buzzing the limiter, turning it off periodically actually saves the engine in the cars. Well, and again, we've smacked it into a wall. These pigeons are so strong. I think we've lost steering. No, we've lost steering to an extent. It pulls very badly to the left, but it still works. Like 80 miles an hour, we flung it into a wall. It rolls around, it tumbles about, and still it keeps on going. It might even go for a trip into the lake. Nope, not going to go into the lake. We are going to go in the lake because the steering doesn't really work anymore. However, these things are absurdly strong. Okay, well, we've been strapping NOS to fairly slow cars to begin with to see what happens, but what if we strap it to a very, very fast car? This is the SBR4 Hill Climb. This is the asphalt version as well, so should have plenty of grip. Now, the engine should be strong enough to deal with the NOS. We shouldn't have the engine exploding. It's how fast are we going to be able to get this car to go. Now, this is not the easiest of roads. It's deliberately why I chose it, because of the twists and turns and slight bumps, and that shed everything off of the car. It is a difficult road, and very easy to clip bankings and so on. Holy crap, it still drives! How? How does that still drive? This has become less of a strap NOS to cars and see what happens, and more of how the hell is the car still alive, having gone off at about 180 miles an hour, shed just about every bit of bodywork. The entire right-hand side of the car is right. If we can just get it out of this horrendous ditch, this might even still work. It works. If the diff was better, it would still work. That should not have lived through that. No way should that have lived through there. Now, we can get away with firing that NOS straight from the off. We've got to be really careful, very, very gentle with the steer, although we need a little bit more steering input through there. Oh, the back end's not got the grip that I would like. What's exactly the same place we've got to. Maybe slower up until that point. Maybe slower up until that point would be a good idea. Because trying to get around that corner, we did not have the rear end grip that I would have liked, quite frankly. Are we going to... Still... I mean, it still has a wheel spinning, but not really driving. Okay, let's not fire the knots until we've got round the corner. I was hoping for a little bit more grip from that mighty... It's a huge rear wing. We should have more than enough rear-end grip. I think the crest and slightly janky inputs from me on the controller don't help. A lot more manageable when you haven't fired the knots. Now we can fire it as we head up towards the kind of bridge area. We've got to get 200 miles. Oh, I guess maybe we've got so much drag in this car that it's going to struggle to get past 190 miles an hour. I guess that would make sense. Oh, we have probably left that way too late to slow down. Ooh. Okay, don't hit the wall, don't hit the wall. Come on, we can do it. We can make a corner. We've made a turn without binning the car. Now inside this tunnel, it is a completely straight piece of road. It's not as long a tunnel as you might. It's certainly not as long a tunnel when you're doing 170 miles an hour through it. That's for sure. And trying to spot a braking point at the other end. Yeah, we kind of run out of speed when we get to 190. The downforce, the drag is so great. Come on, I want 200. The tunnel is coming to an end, even with all of the nosh going through the car. 195 is all we're going to get. Can't exceed 195 miles an hour. Oh, we're going to smack the wall through there. I tried. I gave it everything. But even with the NOS, 195 is all the SPR4 has got. That being said, when things go wrong in this car, it goes wrong massively. We have one more go. At trying not to crash the car with... Oh, okay, we actually might have buggered the engine up slightly from the off. I over-revved it because I was trying to get through get past the automatic gearbox. Yeah, we go so much quicker up. It's this point here. We have so much more speed than we do when we don't have NOS equipped. That trying to get that right is surprisingly difficult. So yeah, I mean that makes a dramatic. Even in a car this fast, even in a car like this that is absurdly fast to begin with, the additional power of that NOS is fairly damn dramatic. I don't know if the power scales to the car. I imagine it must do to an extent. Well, that's a very it's another very big rag. Okay, we're still not cracked 200 miles an hour with anything, so that's going to have to change. Well, this should certainly do the job in terms of speed. It is damn fast to begin with, and then we're going to make it even quicker. Where is the NOS bottle in this car? I can't actually see it. It's hidden. It might be somewhere in the boot, I guess. Yeah, this is pretty damn fast to begin with. Oh, God. We haven't quite got as much grip off the line as I was expecting from this. I haven't even fired the NOS yet, and we're slipping and sliding all over the place. Right, need to be careful with the old acceleration in this car. Even with the huge drag slicks, it is going to go all sorts of squiggly. Oh, it's 196. We're going to lose control of it here. Oh, I'm trying to keep my foot down was not a good... Oh, was not a good idea. Where did the front of my car go? Did we just launch the entire... I think we did. I think we actually launched the entire front end of our car clear, because I'm pretty sure that's a bit of it. Where did the engine go? Has anybody seen an engine? That's a part... I've never done that one before. I guess we might still have the engine attached in there. Can I pull the car out of here? That's probably going to be insanely crash welded to that tree. Come on. I want to get the car... This has been impressive, to say the least. Can we get that force up a little bit? I want to get the car out of there. I don't want to do any excess damage to the car. I just want to see what we are left with. There is nothing solid at the moment here that I can pull on. Come on, out of the tree, please. Oh, okay. So, roll the car over. We have basically taken the entire front of the car off. Oh, there it is. It's in a tree somewhere on fire. That's the engine. That is. That's a decent fire from the engine. That's where the radiator ended up. There's another bit of bodywork down there. We were doing about 200 miles an hour when we hit the tree. It was going 200 miles an hour and then stopped dead because the trees are stronger than anything in the universe of Beam. That might be my favourite crash I've ever done, I think. That has got to be the greatest crash I've ever done in this game. Just entire front end gone. Right, let's try that one again. What we were doing was trying to figure out how ludicrous this car is if we try... Oh, I'll be so careful when we're launching. I mean, that 0 to 100 time is insane in this. We do 150 before the corner that we're going to have to grab the brakes because we just can't... We don't have the grip in this. We have the rear end grip to an extent because of the giant tyres, the giant very, very sticky, slick tyres. Oh, we're going to click the rock. Oh, the front end's come off again. Front end might actually go further down the road than I did. Oh, it's a drag race between the back and the front of my car. We're in a river. Where did the engine end up again? This is a new fun game. I quite like this game. I feel like there could be an entertaining scenario made of trying to see how far you can launch the front end of the Barstow. And this wasn't the reason why I picked the car, but I think it should have been. I'm glad we did. The front end made it further than the actual car. In fact, the front end's in relatively good shape here. Like that. We turn it back over. Well... I mean, the actual sort of subframe isn't too bad. Bodywork's a little bit bent. Hold on, if we get rid of that. Oh, it's still attached. It's still attached at one point. Can we just wiggle? Oh, I forgot I got this on like 75%, trying to free the car from the tree. Never mind. Right, let's actually try and get 200 miles. I'm having far too much fun just destroying the car here. This is easily the best vehicle we've fitted NOS to. Admittedly, we'd probably still be doing this if the car was normal, but... yeah, it just adds that extra stupid high-speed impacts. Right, let's get it around these corners, and then I think we will be good to fire... Oh, this is where we had the crash last time. We were relatively straight this time. Come on, Barstow, get some grip, get some grip, get some grip. 205, 206 miles an hour. Well, we have beaten the 200 miles an hour down the motorway. This is about to go really badly wrong for the poor car. It might actually keep everything together. And just about kept the engine in where it should be. We lost all of the bodywork from the front. The fenders and the bonnet are long gone, but the the wheels are still attached somehow. Yeah, you can go sink to the bottom of a river. Where did the bodywork end up? I guess it probably shedded it along the motorway somewhere. We hit the barrier down here, didn't we? Could be anywhere, I guess, along here. Somewhere there might be bits of bodywork. Oh, no, there it is. There's just a clump of the bodywork with the radiator. It's all still attached to the radiator. One more go. 205 miles an hour. A speed to try and beat. I'm going to fire the NOS from the start, but I'm going to be carefuler? Sure, with the throttle. We'll try and get it onto the bridge. I don't know how many more... how much more we got in terms of the rev range to play with, actually, because the gearbox, again, not really designed to deal with this. The drag gearbox I've got in it, I figured was the best option for the car. Oh, God, there is not much grip. Come on. We're up to 210 miles an hour briefly. Oh, it's going to be 210 miles an hour into the rock face, though. Yeah, you're not stopping it from that sort of speed. We beat the 200 miles an hour. We exploded some cars with NOS, and then we lost an engine. Oh, and now there's some fire as well, just to finish everything off. That seems like a good way to end. My car is on fire. The front end's doing its own thing over there. Yeah, NOS, good fun to mess around with. Engine is disabled. I mean, I kind of figured the engine was disabled when it separated from the car and it's in a heap on its own over here, let's be honest. I mean, it looks, in fact, there's not engine damage yet in the game, but... there we go, yeah. NOS is a cool addition, an unexpected addition. It wasn't something that I thought we were going to see in Beam, but yeah, you can certainly mess around. Just be careful what car you stick it in, because it will explode engines. Certainly the lower spec engines, it will explode those quite damn well. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.